Okay, get this. World War I is just ripping through Europe, right? The U.S. is desperately trying to stay out of it.
Neutrality.
Exactly. And then, bam, this secret message pops up. Seriously, like something from a spy movie.
It really does sound like fiction, doesn't it?
Totally. And it's aimed right at, well, at us.
Yeah.
At the U.S. So this time, we're diving deep into historical timelines, encyclopedic info, basically trying to unpack this wild, true story.
The Zimmermann telegram.
That's the one.
And it was, fundamentally, it was this coded message sent January 1917, Germany proposing this, radical alliance with Mexico.
Practical is putting it mildly. If the U.S. jumps into the war,
then Mexico should join Germany, attack the U.S., and Germany would help them get back Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, just like that.
Unbelievable. So our mission today, for you listening, is to sort of break down the key events, figure out the why behind it all.
And really understand the consequences. Why this one telegram became so incredibly significant. Why are we still talking about it? Let's figure that out.
Okay, so before this telegram bombshell hits, what's the vibe? Germany, Mexico, the U.S. Things were already a bit tense, weren't they? Not exactly smooth sailing.
Oh, definitely not. There's a history there. Well before 1917, you had German activity in Mexico going back years. Remember the Ipiranga incident in 1914? Germans caught shipping arms.
Right? I remember reading about that.
And that same year, President Wilson sends U.S. troops into Veracruz, trying to influence things.
Which didn't exactly make Mexico eager to side with the U.S. later, I imagine.
Well, it certainly complicated things. That intervention, plus some later peace talks involving South American nations, probably pushed Mexico more towards neutrality, actually. They were wary of, more U.S. interference.
And it wasn't just guns, was it? Germany was actively trying to stir the pot.
Oh, absolutely. In 1915, you have this German agent, Franz von Rintelen. Naval intelligence sends him over.
Okay.
And he gives the Mexican president at the time, Huerta, something like $12 million. Huge sum back then.
$12 million. Just to start a war with the U.S.
Pretty much. To try and ignite a conflict, keep the U.S. busy. Then, fast forward to July 1916, the Black Tom explosion. New Jersey. Massive sabotage.
I've heard of that. Sabotage, right?
Widely suspected to be German work, possibly linked to an agent, Lothar Witzka, operating out of Mexico City. So yeah, they were definitely pushing boundaries.
Sounds like Germany was really desperate to distract the U.S. How was Mexico reacting? Was President Carranza tempted by any of this German attention?
Well, Carranza, who was president by then, he did seem somewhat pro-German, especially after the whole U.S. chase for Pancho Villa fizzled out in 1916. Maybe made the U.S. look a bit less intimidating.
Makes sense.
But, and this is a big but, Carranza should have seen a red flag in June 1916. Germany basically told him, sorry, we can't even stump up the gold you need for a national bank.
So big promises, but maybe not much cash to back them up.
Exactly. It hinted they couldn't really deliver.
Yeah.
Still, those earlier efforts, plus the U.S. looking maybe a bit ineffective after the Villa thing, it probably made Germany think, okay, maybe this big telegram idea, maybe it'll work.
Okay, so the stage is set. Now, the telegram itself, this famous message, when did it actually go out, and who was supposed to get it?
Right. So it was sent January 17th, 1917. Arthur Zimmermann, he was Germany's foreign secretary, sends it to their ambassador down in Mexico City, Heinrich von Eckert.
And crucially,
yeah,
the British knew.
Almost immediately. British intelligence intercepted it pretty much straight away. The Germans had no idea.
And the way it was sent, that's almost as wild as the message itself, isn't it? The routes it took were just...
Wow. They really were. See, the British had cut Germany's direct undersea cables early in the war. Standard practice.
So Germany had to get creative.
Very creative. One main route was radio, through a German-owned Telefunken plant in New York.
In New York.
Yep. And get this, because of the war situation, the plant was actually being operated by the U.S. Navy on behalf of the American subsidiary.
You're kidding. So the U.S. Navy was unknowingly helping transmit a plot against itself.
Basically, yeah. The irony is incredible. It also went via diplomatic cables of neutral countries. The U.S., again, and Sweden.
How did that work? Yeah. Through U.S. cables.
Yes, some routes involved U.S. diplomatic lines. The Swedish route, for example, went via British cables from Stockholm to Buenos Aires, then used an American company's network to get to Mexico. It was complex.
Just staggering, using American lines. And I read somewhere that the U.S. initially said messages had to be in plain text, no codes. How did Zimmermann get around that?
That was the rule at first, yeah. Clear text only. But it got relaxed, and literally the day before Zimmermann sent his telegram, January 16th,
Uh-huh.
the U.S. ambassador in Berlin, James Gerard, actually accepted a note from Zimmermann asking permission to send messages in code to keep diplomatic channels open.
Oh, wow. So perfect timing for Zimmermann.
Unwittingly perfect timing. It created the loophole he needed.
So the Germans send it off thinking it's all secret and secure. But then there's Room 40. Tell us about them. Sounds very hush-hush.
Room 40. Yeah, that was the British Admiralty's top secret code-breaking department. Absolutely vital during the war, like something out of, well, a spy novel, as you said.
So who are the key players there cracking this specific message?
For the Zimmermann telegram, you're looking at Nigel de Grey. He got a partial decode pretty quickly, around January 18th. And William Montgomery worked with him to finish it off by mid-February.
Okay.
And the big boss overseeing it all was Admiral Sir Reginald Hall, Blinker Hall, head of Room 40. These guys were the best minds Britain had, working in total secrecy. Cracking codes gave them a huge advantage.
How did they manage it, though? German codes must have been tough. Did they just get lucky?
Well, there was a bit of luck, actually, combined with skill. Earlier in the war, there was this failed German expedition to Afghanistan, the Niedermeyer-Hentig expedition.
Okay.
One of the German agents involved, Wilhelm Wassmuss, basically the German Lawrence of Arabia, had to abandon his luggage, including a German codebook. The Allies recovered it.
Ah, a captured code book. That's a game changer.
It certainly helped. Plus, the specific code used for the Zimmermann telegram, diplomatic code Euro 40, wasn't brand new. They'd been using it for years.
So Room 40 already had some experience with it.
Exactly. They'd intercepted lots of messages using 3030, so they'd already done a lot of painstaking work figuring parts of it out. They weren't starting completely cold. They also had other codes like 3512, though maybe not directly useful for this one.
Right.
And there's even a story they got a copy of the coded text from the telegraph office in Mexico itself. Maybe through an agent, this mysterious Mr. H. That would have definitely helped confirm things.
Okay, so the British cracked the code.
Yeah.
They have this message. What exactly did it say? What was the offer to Mexico, point by point?
Right. The contents were, well, explosive. First off, it stated Germany was resuming unrestricted submarine warfare on February 1st. Full stop.
Which they knew would likely bring the U.S. in.
They absolutely anticipated that. So the core offer was, let's make a military alliance, Germany and Mexico. We fight together. We make peace together.
And the reward for Mexico.
Germany offers substantial financial support and, crucially, backs Mexico in reconquering its lost territory, namely Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona.
Wow. Just offering up huge chunks of the U.S.
Exactly. The instructions to the ambassador were clear. Approach the Mexican president, but only in secret, and only once war with the U.S. looked certain.
Any other parts to the plan?
Yeah, it also suggested Mexico should try and get Japan on board. Invite Japan into this new alliance against the U.S., and even offer to mediate between Germany and Japan.
Okay, ambitious.
And finally, Zimmermann added this bit about how they expected their U-boats, their submarines, to force Britain to sue for peace within months. That was the German thinking at the time.
The sheer audacity. Offering another country parts of its neighbor. It wasn't just strategy. It felt like a direct slap in the face to the U.S., didn't it?
Absolutely. For a country already angry about submarine attacks, this was adding serious insult to injury. A real sense of betrayal.
So the Brits have this. Admiral Hall in Room 40. What's their first reaction? They must know how huge this is.
Oh, they knew. But Hall, he was hesitant, really reluctant at first to release it.
Why? It seems like the perfect weapon against Germany.
Because revealing it meant admitting two massive secrets. One, that they'd broken top-level German diplomatic codes.
Right, you don't want the enemy knowing that.
Exactly. And two, it would reveal they were eavesdropping on neutral countries' communications, including the U.S. diplomatic traffic used to transmit the message. That could cause a huge diplomatic incident.
Okay, yeah, that's a serious dilemma. They have this dynamite, but lighting the fuse could blow up in their own faces.
Precisely. It was a very fine line to walk.
So what changed? What made them decide to go for it?
Events started moving fast. February 1st, Germany restarts unrestricted submarine warfare, just like the telegram said.
Okay, prediction confirmed.
Then, February 3rd, the U.S. breaks off diplomatic relations with Germany. Things are escalating rapidly. The potential impact of the telegram just got much, much bigger.
The timing was becoming critical.
Right. So, by February 5th, Hall shows the fully decrypted telegram to the British Foreign Office, but he still advised caution. They needed a plan. They needed a cover story.
Ah, the cover story. How did they explain getting it without admitting the code breaking?
They came up with the idea that the telegram had been acquired somehow in Mexico, bought or stolen after it had been decrypted by the Germans there.
Clever. Plausible deniability for Room 40.
That was the goal. Protect the source, protect the methods.
So how did they finally break the news to the Americans? Must have been handled very carefully.
Extremely carefully. First, on February 19th, Hall gives a sort of quiet heads up to Edward Bell, an official at the U.S. Embassy in London.
What did Bell think?
Skeptical at first, thought it might be a British trick, a forgery, but Hall managed to convince him it was real. Bell was apparently furious.
I bet.
The next day, Hall informally shows it to the U.S. ambassador himself, Walter Hines Page. Then, the formal handover was February 23rd. Page meets the British Foreign Secretary, Arthur Balfour.
And Balfour gives him the goods.
Yep. The original coded message, the German text, the English translation, all presented with the cover story. We got this in Mexico.
And
He immediately saw how massive it was. Sent it straight to President Wilson on the 24th, basically saying, you need to see this, but let's get our own confirmation too.
President Wilson. What was his first take when he saw this message? Must have been quite a moment.
Reports say he felt, profound indignation. He was angry. Apparently he wanted to publish it right away, saw its power to shift public opinion.
But he held back.
Wisely, yes. He waited, wanted absolute confirmation first to make sure it wasn't some elaborate hoax before going public with something so inflammatory.
So when did it finally come out?
The Associated Press actually broke the story on February 28th. Then Wilson officially released the full text on March 1st.
And the American public, do they buy it straight away, or was there doubt, like Bell initially felt?
Oh, there was a lot of doubt at first, a lot of skepticism. Remember, there were powerful voices against the war. German Americans, Irish Americans who disliked Britain, pacifists, some newspapers. They all jumped on it, saying, see? British propaganda, a forgery to trick us into the war. And the cover story, ironically, about it being stolen in Mexico kind of fueled that initial disbelief.
Made it sound a bit fishy.
Exactly.
But the doubts couldn't have lasted forever.
Yeah.
Finally convinced people.
Well, the ultimate confirmation came from the source himself, Arthur Zimmermann. On March 3rd, just days after it was published, he holds a press conference in Berlin and flat out admits it. He says, quote, I cannot deny it. It is true.
Wow. He just admitted it. Publicly.
Yeah. Game over for the doubters. He later confirmed it again in a speech to the Reichstag, the German parliament, on March 29th. Still tried to imply the U.S. got it sneakily, but he owned the message itself.
Incredible. So, okay, it's confirmed. What about Mexico? Did Carranza's government actually think about taking Germany up on this amazing offer?
Well, Carranza didn't just dismiss it out of hand. He actually assigned a military commission to seriously study the German proposal.
Really? So they looked into it?
They did. And their assessment was pretty clear-eyed, pretty realistic. They basically concluded it was a non-starter, unwinnable.
Why? What were the main reasons?
Several things. One, Mexico was still dealing with the aftermath of its own revolution, internal conflicts. Carranza didn't have total control everywhere.
Right, not stable enough for a major war.
Two, the U.S. military was just overwhelmingly stronger. Three, those German promises of substantial financial support. They remembered Germany couldn't even fund that bank back in 1916. Didn't seem reliable.
Good point.
Four, even if they somehow won trying to govern Texas, Arizona, New Mexico with their large English-speaking populations, that would be a nightmare. And finally, it would wreck relations with the ABC powers, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, who'd helped mediate before.
So just too many downsides. A practical decision.
Very practical. So Mexico, politely but firmly, declined the offer and stayed neutral in World War I. Interestingly, the U.S. formally recognized Carranza's government later that year, partly as a result, helping ensure that neutrality.
Okay, so Mexico's out. What about the other country mentioned? Japan.
Japan! No chance. They were already on the Allied side, fighting against Germany.
Oh, right, of course.
Their ambassador in Washington quickly sent a message on March 3rd, making it crystal clear. Japan had zero interest in any German-Mexican plan against the U.S., full stop.
So Germany's grand strategy here completely fell apart. But the telegram itself, what were the real consequences? It's always cited as a huge factor in the U.S. joining the war.
Oh, absolutely pivotal. Its publication just unleashed this wave of anti-German sentiment across America. People who were on the fence about the war. This pushed them over the edge.
It unified public opinion.
Dramatically. The combination of the U-boat attacks and now this blatant hostile plot, it was too much. Public pressure on Wilson and Congress became immense.
And that led directly to...
The U.S. Congress voting to declare war on Germany, April 6, 1917. The Zimmermann telegram isn't the only reason,
No.
but historians agree it was a major, perhaps decisive catalyst.
A turning point.
Definitely. And for the British, of course, it was a massive intelligence victory, a demonstration of the power of code breaking.
Just amazing that one short message could ripple out like that, change history. Any footnotes? Later discoveries about it.
A couple of things. In 2005, a historian apparently found an original typed copy of the decoded telegram, maybe the actual one shown to Ambassador Page, which is cool because a lot of stuff was destroyed.
Wow.
And at least as of the mid-2000s, there were still some classified files on the telegram at the UK National Archives. So maybe, just maybe, there are still a few tiny details we don't know.
Fascinating. So wrapping up this deep dive then, we've got Germany making this incredibly bold, almost reckless gamble, offering Mexico parts of the U.S. to keep America out of the war.
A gamble that backfired spectacularly thanks to British code breakers.
Right. Intercepted, decoded, revealed, leading to initial disbelief, then shock and anger when Zimmermann himself confirmed it.
And ultimately becoming a key factor, maybe the key factor in pushing the United States into World War I.
It really underscores, doesn't it, the power of intelligence, the complexity of diplomacy in wartime.
And how a single communication, intercepted at the right moment, can literally alter the course of history. It's a stark reminder.
It really makes you think. Imagine if that telegram hadn't been intercepted, or if Mexico somehow had said yes. How different would things look now? What other secret histories are out there hinging on one small twist of fate? Something to ponder, definitely. If this has piqued your interest, maybe dig into the lives of Zimmermann or Admiral Hall, or explore the amazing story of Room 40 in WWI code breaking, or even the whole complex U.S.-Mexico relationship back then. There's always more layers.